In a quiet corner of England, two curious humans prepare for a journey. One of them, called Dharmik, who travelled thousands of miles from India in search of a new life in England, and perhaps, without knowing it, a new story. Alongside him is Emily, was born and raised here, a natural explorer, drawn to distant places, unfamiliar flavours, and the quiet thrill of the unknown. Somewhere along the way, their paths crossed. What began as friendship slowly grew into something deeper. They call each other chums, a word that once meant simply friend, but now carries the weight of love, laughter, and shared adventure. And like many newly bonded pairs of humans, these two have chosen to celebrate their union in a time-honored ritual called the honeymoon. And for this adventure, they set their sights on one extraordinary place called Thailand, a land of magnificent temples, chaotic cities, rich culture, and islands that seem to float between sea and sky. Over the coming days, our chums will wander through the streets of Bangkok, the jungles of Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai, before drifting south to the tranquil shores of Koh Lanta near Krabi. This is not merely a travel story. It is a story of two chums discovering a new country, a new chapter of life, and perhaps the beginning of an adventure that will last the rest of their lives. And so, we follow the journey of two curious chums as they set out to explore the remarkable land of Thailand. And so, the journey begins. Our two chums leave the quiet familiarity of England behind, settling into the long and not particularly comfortable ritual of modern air travel. For 13 hours, they sit somewhere between two worlds, suspended above continents, oceans, and time zones. Until finally, land appears beneath the clouds, and their destination is Bangkok, the great capital of Thailand, a city known to locals by a far longer and far more poetic name, Krung Thep, the City of Angels. For many travellers, Bangkok is simply a gateway, a place to pass through on the way to quieter islands or distant mountains. But for the chums, it becomes something more. Almost immediately, the city makes its presence known. The heat wraps around them like a heavy blanket. The air carries unfamiliar scents, street food sizzling on roadside stalls, incense drifting from temple doors, the restless energy of a city constantly in motion. Here, ancient traditions and modern life exist side by side, and Golden Buddha rest quietly within ancient temple halls. The grand rooftops of Grand Palace shimmer beneath the tropical sun, and boats glide quietly through the canals of Thonburi. These are the waterways that have carried the life of Bangkok for centuries. And everywhere, life unfolds in its own chaotic rhythm. The chums wander through lantern-lit streets of Chinatown, where the night glows red and gold, and every corner promises something new to taste. They explore hidden alleys and riverside neighbourhoods like Talat Noi, where old buildings and quiet cafes tell stories of the city's past. And And when the pace of the city becomes too much, they find refuge in the unexpected calm of Lumpini Park, where towering trees and watchful monitor lizards remind visitors that nature still holds a quiet corner of the city. For 3 days, they wander. Not with a strict plan, but with curiosity as their guide. And somewhere between the noise, the crowds, the temples, and the rivers, the chums begin to understand something about Bangkok. It is not a city that asks to be admired from a distance. It is a city that asks to be experienced, and for these two travelers, it becomes the perfect beginning to their adventure. After several lively days in Bangkok, the chums turn their attention north. A short flight carries them away from the great capital and into the quieter landscapes of Chiang Rai, a province nestled in the far north of Thailand, where the pace of life feels just a little slower and the air a little calmer.
So, how are we feeling now?
I'm okay. I feel like I have to now again process that we're in a different place, especially after the last few hours. Interesting flight, forgot to get our luggage, and then also crazy taxi driver, so.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, in Chiang Rai.
With only a single full day to explore, the chums waste no time. Early in the morning, they climb onto a small scooter, a surprisingly adventurous machine for two travelers in unfamiliar territory, and set off into the countryside. Their first stop is the remarkable Wat Rong Khun, better known as the White Temple. In the soft morning light, the temple almost appears to glow. Every surface is bright, intricate, and impossibly detailed, less like a building, and more like a piece of art that has somehow found its way into the real world. Not far away lies another striking temple, Wat Rong Swea Ten, often called the Blue Temple. Deep colors, golden details, and a peaceful atmosphere offer a very different kind of beauty. But the day's journey continues. The chums ride onward through quiet roads and green hills until they arrive at Wat Hui Pla Kang, where a giant white Buddha sits high upon a hill, calmly watching over the valley below. From here, the world appears small. Cars, people, and temples scattered quietly beneath its gaze. For many travelers, this might be enough adventure for a single day, but the chums notice something important. There are still several hours of daylight left, and so, naturally, they decide to keep exploring. Their scooter carries them further into the countryside, toward a hidden waterfall tucked deep within the forest. Along the way, they stumble upon something rather unexpected, a small deer park known as Deer Cafe Chiang Rai, where gentle deer wander peacefully among the visitors. Not exactly the sort of sight one expects to find in northern Thailand. Eventually, the road ends and a short jungle walk begins. After a modest but rewarding hike, the chums reach the waterfall, quiet, refreshing, and wonderfully hidden from the busy world beyond the trees. By the time they return to their Airbnb that evening, the sun is beginning to fade. In one day, scooters, temples, forests, waterfalls, and a few surprises along the way, chums enjoyed every bit of Chiang Rai. The journey will continue south, toward the lively city of Chiang Mai. After their time in Chiang Rai, the chums set off once more, a 3-hour journey that carries them deeper into the cultural heart of northern Thailand. This time, their destination is Chiang Mai, often called the Rose of the North, not for a single reason, but for many. its cooler climate, its surrounding mountains, and its deep-rooted history have long given it a gentler, more graceful character than the bustling cities further south. The next morning, they choose not to rush. Staying within the old town of Chiang Mai, they wander. Temples appear at every turn, some grand, others modest, but all carrying a quiet sense of history. There is no strict path, only curiosity. By afternoon, however, that curiosity begins to grow, and with it the desire to go further. A decision is made. The chums hire a motorbike and set off beyond the city limits, leaving behind the familiar streets of the old town. Their destination is Bua Thong Sticky Waterfall. The journey itself is part of the experience. Long, winding roads stretching through greenery, offering glimpses of a quieter, less seen Thailand. And then they arrive. A waterfall, but not as one might expect. Here, the rocks are textured, almost grippy, allowing people to climb directly against the flow of water. It is unusual, unexpected, and quietly thrilling. The chums test their footing, step by step, discovering that sometimes nature invites you not just to observe, but to take part. The following day brings a different kind of discovery. After days of enjoying Thai food, a simple question has taken shape. How is it made? To find out, the chums join a local cooking class. But before any cooking begins, they are taken to a nearby market, a place alive with color, scent, and movement. Here, ingredients tell their own story. Fresh herbs, spices, vegetables, each one playing a role in the flavors they have come to enjoy. Guided by their teacher, the chums begin to understand. And then they cook. Spring rolls, pad thai, and the ever-reliable favorite, mango sticky rice. A dish that, by now, has become part of the journey itself. For a moment, they're no longer just passing through. They are learning something they can carry with them long after the journey ends. That evening is quieter, closer to home. At first light, the chums set out once more. Their destination, Elephant Nature Park. An ethical sanctuary where elephants once used for labor or tourism are now given space, care, and time to recover.
This one, we got to see her. She prefers to be alone. She can talk to all of elephants, but she don't want to make any friends. Just say hi, talking, and then goodbye. Yeah.
There are no performances here, no commands, only observation, respect, and connection. The chums prepare food, fresh fruit, carefully cut, and offer it gently. Up close, the scale of these animals is undeniable. But so too is their presence. There is a calmness to them, a quiet intelligence, and in many, a past that has not been kind. Yet despite it all, they remain gentle. And that is what stays with the chums. Not just the size of the elephants, but their nature. By evening, they return once again to Chiang Mai. There is time for one last walk. One last look at a city that, in just a few days, has offered more than expected. Tomorrow, the journey changes once again. An early flight awaits south toward Krabi. And beyond that, the island of Koh Lanta, a new landscape, a different pace, and the final chapter of a journey that is far from ordinary. And now, the final chapter begins. The chums leave the north behind and travel south, arriving in Krabi before continuing onward to the island of Koh Lanta, a place that will become their home for the next few days. From the moment they arrive, something feels different. The air is warmer, heavier with salt and sea. Palm trees sway gently, and time itself seems to slow. By chance, they arrive on Valentine's Day, and for two chums on their honeymoon, there couldn't be more perfect place than this island. Without wasting a moment, they head straight for the sea. At a quiet stretch known as Beautiful Beach, the chums take their first swim of the journey, the warm water, the endless horizon. A simple moment, but one that marks the beginning of something new. That evening, curiosity returns. They set out on a scooter and find themselves drawn to a local gathering where flames move through the night sky in the hands of skilled performers. Fire dances, spinning, circling, controlled, yet unpredictable. And for a brief moment, Dharmik becomes part of the spectacle. Seated calmly as fire moves around him, close enough to feel its heat, a mixture of thrill, trust, and just a hint of danger. An unusual way to end a first day. The following day, the chums venture a little further. With the gentle hum of a scooter beneath them, they make their way to one of the island's quieter treasures, Nui Bay. Tucked between lush tropical greenery and watched over by a troop of rather confident monkeys, it is a place that feels almost hidden, as though it has chosen not to be found too easily. For the chums, it is something new, a stretch of sand and sea, unlike anything they've seen before. They swim, they linger, and, like many before them, slightly underestimate the tropical sun. By afternoon, wiser, and perhaps a little warmer than intended, they make their way back, deciding, quite sensibly, to take the rest of the day at a gentler pace. The next day brings a different kind of encounter. At Lanta Animal Welfare, the chums find themselves surrounded not by landscapes, but by stories. Rescued dogs and cats, each one with a past, now cared for with patience and compassion. Some will stay here. Others, if they are fortunate, will find new homes, often with the very visitors who come simply to look. It is, unexpectedly, a moving experience, even for the chums. By afternoon, curiosity calls once again. They return to their scooter and set off toward Koh Lanta Old Town. Once a busy trading port, it now moves at a slower rhythm. Wooden houses on stilts, quiet streets, and a blend of cultures shaped over generations. The chums wander, taking it all in. And they head back on their scooter. As the days pass, the chums begin to settle into island life. Long walks along quiet beaches, unplanned swims, evenings spent watching the lights slowly fade into blue. There is no rush here, only time and the space to enjoy it. And then, the final day arrives. The chums set out once more, this time by boat, to the distant islands of Koh Roke and Koh Ha. Here, the water turns crystal clear. Beneath the surface, a different world begins. For the chums, it is the perfect ending. Quiet, beautiful, and unforgettable. Soon, it is time to leave. They return briefly to Bangkok, the city where it all began. But this time, it feels different. Familiar, yet changed. Because journeys like this do not just show you new places, they leave something with you. And though the chums are not quite ready to go home, the journey comes to an end. From the restless streets of Bangkok to the quiet temples of the north and the gentle shores of Koh Lanta, the chums have travelled far. But distance was never the point. Because somewhere between the flights, the roads, and the unfamiliar places, something changed. Not loudly, not all at once, but in small, quiet ways, in moments shared without distraction, in places that asked them to slow down, in experiences that will stay with them long after the journey itself fades. They arrived as two people ready to explore the world, and they leave with something more, a deeper understanding of each other, of the world around them, and how what truly matters is often the easiest to overlook. Soon, life will return to its usual rhythm. Familiar streets, familiar routines, but a part of this journey will remain. Because once you have seen the world like this, felt it, lived it, shared it, you don't simply go back to who you were before. And for these two chums, this was never just a honeymoon. It was the beginning of a life spent exploring together.